Look at what you wrote here on page 146 of your book. You said, under Aregbesola, only 3 people were calling the shot to the extent that the party chairman had no say in party affairs.
Correct.
That is APC.
Yeah.
You said, but Oyetola returned the party to the people. He allowed the party leaders, elders, and members to take charge of the party, even with regard to nominations for appointment. He was democratic and allowed party stakeholders to have their say and weigh in decision-making. Now you drop the bomb. If Oyetola was vindictive, Aregbesola would have been behind bars, considering the mess he created in Osun.
Yes.
Explain.
Now, there were certain projects that money for those projects were paid, but there was nothing on ground to show for the execution of such projects. People talk about single uniform. You know, under Aregbesola, the entire schools in Osun were to put on one uniform, same uniform. Now, they introduced a manufacturer who was bringing the raw materials from abroad. Now, when Oyetola took over, that one, I think I met the woman too. Once there is rise in dollar, she will apply for variation. So it was a business the government was not making anything from. And because Oyetola had promised the electorate that if he becomes the governor and the people insist on reviewing some of the educational policies, that he will not shy away from it. And the first ESCO meeting that was held, the commissioner and special advisor in charge of education came up with lists of issues they want to be addressed. And that was what led us into setting up a panel led by Professor Oluaina to examine, some of the issues. And so eventually the panel recommended that schools should revert to their, so there were so many things.
So at this time, nobody carried Aregbesola along?
Well, the committee interfaced with him. And from some of the things he said later, which I read, he said by the time the report of the committee was ready, that they didn't get back to him.
So he was expecting them to get back to him
before probably releasing, the.
He wanted to be consulted.
But the Aregbesola that I know, there was no way he would have agreed that the single uniform and the merger of school and what have you should be reversed.
Remember, Oyetola was the chief of staff.
He was the chief of staff
under Aregbesola.
Very well.
And those policies were implemented while he was the chief of staff.
Very well.
He was part of government.
Yes.
Was it that he didn't like those policies while he was the chief of staff?
The personality and character of a leader at every point in time will determine to what extent you are able to influence his decisions. Those who have worked with Aregbesola, I never worked with him, but those who have worked with him and whom I have interacted with is the type that once he believes in a thing, he pushes it through. Your opinion or suggestion does not matter. And so, yes, he may be the chief of staff, but I doubt if he had hand. Though the Aregbesola would tell you that, hey, it was my chief of staff, they did it together. But you and I know that as the governor, the buck stops at Aregbesola's desk.
You even refer to Aregbesola as a dictator.
Yes, because if he invites you for a meeting, he will be the one to talk from beginning to the end.
You dare not talk back?
You dare not talk back. You have no idea. You have no opinion.
These were things you were told.
I was told, and I also saw it happen in some of the meetings I attended with him.
What did you see?
The idea of, once you pick up, you are discussing something, it takes it over from you and even tries to school you on the subject, even though he may not have known much about the same subject. You know, some of his commissioners who worked with him, one of them met me debating a matter with my principal, and eventually my principal shifted grounds and allowed me to have my way. And he told me pointedly, he said, you are lucky that even as a lawmaker under Aregbesola, they had no say. I said, well, thank God I didn't come to work under that kind of administration. I probably wouldn't have stayed.
State Affairs with Edmund Obilo is live.
You know, the story is not just the story of Ismail Omipidan. It is also your story. It is the beginning of the story. Are we sure the radio man will finish the story on this edition of State Affairs? But the most important thing is that I have started the Osun story. I am looking into the political crisis in Osun. This book opens you to another side of the story. Personal Nongranta by Ismail Omipidan of the Sun newspaper. Good book. His own side of the story. There's always another side of the story. You know, a caller has taken us back to what happened between Oyetola and Oyetola. Is that what is going on between Aregbesola and Tinubu? So if you read the book S. Ladoke Oyetola, His Life and Times, it takes you to the past. A book written by Professor Akin Oshutokun. You will love this book because I love it. I love the book. I love this book. S. Ladoke Oyetola, His Life and Times by Akinjide Oshutokun. So I've recommended 3 books to you. Personal Nongranta by Ismail Omipidan, Beating All Odds, Diary and Essays on How Bola Tinubu Became President, and S. Ladoke Oyetola, His Life and Times by Akinjide Oshutokun. The program is State Affairs on Splash. Now, insiders trace the first crack to battles over party structure.